Yes, YouTube, Danester, back again. I keep going to say 83 still, man. I need to get that out of my head. Every time I do a video, man, this fucking phone. Hello. Oh, the foursome's back on. What you mean, me, you, Tracy and Sharon? Oh, Novabugs, Friday Foursome. We're going to have to edit this out, you know. Cut the intro. Bit of a misunderstanding there. Novabug, he's got his Friday Foursome back. I believe this is the second month he's doing it. Last month was about what 4 consoles you would change to the ones you had when growing up. Well, to be honest, I didn't get involved because there weren't 4 that I would change. I was pretty happy growing up with the consoles that I had, so I didn't take part last month, but I used to, back in the day when it was on, take part, especially if it applied to me. Now this month massively applies to me, and I think that might apply to a lot of the YouTube community because there's already a fair few videos up. So this month is your 4 most played arcade machines. Now there were 2 main kind of places that I played arcades. One where 2 of these actually come from social clubs that were locally, like working's men's clubs, where my dad used to go on a Friday and Saturday night. And the other is like holidays, mainly to Skegness. We used to go to Skegness at least once, twice a year because Mum had family up there. But also we used to go on a lot of sun holidays. You know, I was constantly wagging Fridays off school so Dad could go away somewhere. Down Cornwall in St Ives there was a Haven Park. They had a massive, for such a little park there, arcade was quite big, quite huge to be fair, and they had such good range in there. Went to the Isle of Wight a couple of times, and various places in the country. So yeah, the 2 kinds of places I used to play arcades was social clubs. We didn't used to have one in our local chippy, I believe, but I didn't used to hang around the local chippy. We did used to have an arcade at the old UCI cinema, which I believe maybe Odeon bought out. There used to be a UCI cinema in Merry Hill. That had quite a big arcade. I did play there. But the other place the game was on holiday. So I'm going to be featuring 2 from the social clubs, mainly because them were the 2 games that they had. And 2 from, obviously I played a lot when I went to Butlins. Butlins was a place I went to a lot in Skeg. Mum and Dad used to watch the entertainment that was on in the Reds Club, and I used to go and play in the arcade. I mean, I can still picture that now in my head where the arcade machines are. So it's amazing how stuff like that sticks in your head. So, rather than me waffling on for ages, because I've got another couple of videos I want to shoot. It's quite a busy week for me this week with getting videos out. The first one I want to mention was at the Simon's Engineering Club in Dudley, which isn't there anymore. It was a little social club built on the side of a factory. Obviously for the working men in the factory mainly. They used to make the hydraulic systems for the fire engines and do work for, is it Dennis who used to make the fire engines? I don't know if they still do. But we used to go down there. I mean, my best mate who I still knock around with, his mum and dad used to go there, and other people who, like, I used to go to school with, their parents used to go there. So, I mean, let me just grab some. I mean, I used to take this with me. I used to have one of these as a kid. I used to play that there. Me and my mate used to take our original Game Boys there, play a lot of Tetris, Super Mario World. But they had one of the, I'm going to try and put it up here. I'll try and put a picture of the game up here, and I'll put a picture of what I used to play on. It was like one of them sit-down cocktail cabs. And obviously you had a player each side, but I don't think, they didn't have 2-player games. It was like, if you played 2-player, I had to go, then you had to go sort of thing. And I'm pretty sure it was 10 pence a play, so it was quite cheap. But the first game I remember playing there was Shaolin Road, which obviously, like, you're some kind of kung fu guy and people coming out of the doors and you have to kick them. And then there's various bosses. I'm pretty sure actually the first boss might have a hairstyle like this. I'm not too sure, but I used to play hours of that. And what made it more special is that was a game that I could then play at home because I had the port of that for my Amstrad 464C PC. But yeah, Shaolin Road was the first game I remember playing hours into. As I say, because Mum and Dad would be listening to the singer, I'm like, oh, it's that shit, I want to go and play that little cocktail cab. Now it's a shame because when they demolished that, I mean the bar had been shut down for years. I wonder what happened to that cab. I reckon it just got skipped because it's a shame because I mean I was probably still at school when that place got demolished, but I'd have loved to have had that little cocktail cab because that's what I played on. But yeah, Shaolin Road, as I say, if I can get a picture of like a still of what the game's like, it's just lots of generic like ninja people or kung fu people, you kick them. I'm sure there's some that threw stars and stuff like that, and then you'd fight a boss each level and it would then change. In fact, I think the one level was like on like a traditional style Japanese buildings, you know, with like the peaked roofs and stuff like that. So yes, that's my first choice, Shaolin Road. Now, they never changed this arcade cab, this little cocktail cab, but they did change games in it. Now, I don't know whether that was because Shaolin Road broke or because I think this is a newer game, so they obviously might have just brought in a newer game. And it's a Konami game, I believe. It's a Jailbreak, which is, I suppose it's like a side-scrolling shooter sort of thing, but I don't know. Basically, you're a copper, and there's been a breakout at the local jail. And I remember the guys, they got balls and chains on some of them, and they were in the traditional white and black striped uniform, and you were just a copper walking around getting bullets, shoot them. In a way of how it played, it did have a style of Contra to it, like with the way the bullets shot, and you could move up. Although it wasn't like a tiered platformer, you could move up and down the platform of the level to shoot the bad guys, if you know what I mean. So that was the other one I put a lot of hours in. Again, I'll try and get a still up here of what the gameplay looks like. So yeah, the first two by default, because obviously, you know, my dad used to work a lot back in the day, but Saturday night, sometimes Friday night, used to be his one night off, and you know, we used to go out as a family, me, my mum, my dad. My brother and sister didn't used to come because they're quite a lot older than me, so I used to get dragged along. You know, but I had some good times there, man. I enjoyed my time at the social club, and very often when me and my mate go out drinking now, we remember like when we used to be there playing Game Boy, playing on. I always remember there was the Gambler right next to it, like, you know, the one-armed bandit, and then you, like, it was literally as you come in through the door was a little cocktail cab. It was almost like, here, send the kids down that way, out the way, so the adults can enjoy having their drinks, watching the entertainment and stuff like that. So yeah, those are my first two, Shaolin Road and Konami's Jailbreak. So again, it was just my early days. I don't know, you couldn't get Jailbreak on the home computers, I don't think, not in England anyway. I'm not sure if it's on the Super Famicom. If it is, I'm going to get a Super Famicom just to buy that game. So Craig's here again, or Basabi, whoever gets my business first. We're in the market. We need to add a Super Famicom just so I can play that game. So that's the first two. The next one, this was played everywhere. Everywhere I went and this cab was there, I played this. And in fact, the last place I remember playing it was a place called Ingermalls in it's by Skegness. It's another little town down. They've got like a fun fair and everything there still now. But all that had a really old arcade still just into the 2000s, I think. Like they hadn't got rid of all their early 90s cabs, and this game and its predecessor were still in there. And the last time I played it was 100% there, and that is WrestleFest. Obviously the predecessor was Superstars, but every time somewhere had WrestleFest, I played this. I used to play either the Royal Rumble mode, and I would always be Mr. Perfect, because he was my favourite wrestler and he was on the roster. Or if I played the tag team, I used to be the Ultimate Warrior and Mr. Perfect. And obviously you had to fight all the way through to challenge the Legion of Doom for the tag belts, and then you had to defend them. There was various modes where you was either in a cage. But that again, I mean, I was a huge I'm a wrestling fan, but I don't watch it so much now. I just read the results, more looking out for like the classic wrestlers who are still going, like the Undertaker, Shawn Michaels when he occasionally wrestles. But wrestling was a huge part of my life growing up. I mean, I had a massive collection of VHSs that I sold at the boot sale. So, you know, I had all the home games as well, like Royal Rumble and all that. So to play it in the arcade, when I first got MAME, the main reason I got MAME on my very first ever desktop was to play WrestleFest, because I don't think there's been an arcade style wrestling game as good since. They've come close. There's been some good ones. I mean, I know Superstars and WrestleMania get slammed like the Superstars on the Game Boy now, but they were good. You know, they filled a need. Like, you know, as I say, I used to only play these games when I went on holiday. So when I was at home, I could play Royal Rumble on my Super Nintendo, or I could play Superstars on my Game Boy, and it wasn't as good, but it was close enough for me as a kid. So that would be my third choice, would be WrestleFest. So going on to my last one now, this is the hardest one to choose of, because there's several types of these games. They're the 4-player games, and I used to play a hell of a lot of them because some of them were based on my favourite cartoons or franchises at the time. So that might be a bit of a spoiler, and I'm even shocked at the one I'm going to play, because Novabugs specifically said, not your favourite, which one did you play the most? Now, by default, the one I played the most was the Simpsons arcade game, and that was because they had that in Butlins. They didn't have the Turtles one anymore. They had the Turtles one for like the first 2 years I was there, and they changed it out. I don't know if they moved it somewhere else on site and put the Simpsons one in. But I also played the Simpsons one several other places as well. Again, that was one of the main reasons I wanted to get MAME, was so I could play the Ninja Turtles 4-player game, and so I could play the Simpsons. I mean, the Simpsons one's brilliant. I always used to be Bart Simpson, because I just used to love his skateboard action, hitting people with the skateboards. And you got the one thing I thought it had is it had the double team manoeuvres, where you could get on Homer's back or Marge's back. You could do like double teams if someone else was playing with you. You've got the bosses, like obviously there's the huge balloon that you have to pop. I did complete it, obviously on MAME, not in the arcade, because that would have cost Mum and Dad a fortune. I'm sure you fight Mr. Burns in like a radioactive suit. The guys in the bunny suits, all the generic bosses that you beat, and the generic people that you beat, like, you know, there's the ghost level, there's the when you gotta pump up the balloon level, like where you're button bashing in between. Out of the two, between that and Turtles, I think Simpsons was probably a more rounded and more polished game, but I love Turtles as well. The sound effects, obviously it was the Turtles. I would always be Raphael because he was my favourite. But those two games again. But Michael Jackson's Moonwalk, that was another multiplayer game I used to play a lot of hours into. But as I say, Novabugs making me pick one of them, so I'm going to pick the Simpsons. So that will conclude my foursome. So we got Shaolin Road, we got Jailbreak, we've got, what was that next one? WrestleFest. Oh man, I've just stuck my finger up to everyone on the camera. And we've got the Simpsons. So that is my Friday Foursome. Obviously, Novabug will put this in the link to everyone who does a response. Good luck to everyone who enters. It's, to be honest, I'm not trying to win it. I just wanted to share my story of my story playing in the arcade, and I've enjoyed doing this, and I'll look to get involved with more of the foursomes. So well done, Chris, Novabug, for bringing it back. I think it's going to be very popular. So that's me signing out. See you on the next one. Ta-da.